why does a business need a system for content? And how does primal storytelling work into that? So one of the things that I remember is when you look back in the old days of SEO and search engine optimization, and how a website could attract traffic. Hey guys, Tony Butler, and today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about what is the primal storytelling system and why would you might want to use it, and how does it apply to a business that's trying to make the transition from a brochure website into a website that's that's attracting traffic, that's getting some organic movement going on. So if you haven't already, please like this channel down below, follow, like this video, and we'll get into it. And so they would put content on a page, ensure that it had keyword density and meta tags and a lot of technical issues. And then what they did, then as things went along, then backlinks became the big thing. And if you could get the most backlinks, you would get a page, you could drive it to #1. Everything revolved around some sort of trick, a technical trick. But as the years have gone by, like Google's got smarter and they've got more sophisticated and their algorithm has improved. And they've moved toward one single idea. And it's the idea that, that's really helping is that they want searches to be relevant to the person who's searching, and they want content that is valuable to be relevant. So where the state of things are today is that content is itself SEO, search engine optimization. So if you have something that you've written that's really valuable and people come and they spend time on that page and they share it with others and maybe get traffic from social media that goes there, and then they search around your website, okay? You prove that you're valuable. And that becomes the SEO itself, and all of those tricks and things, and some of them still have a little bit of relevance in the algorithm, but the future is in good content. Now think about streaming videos. And as an example, okay, when you go on YouTube, if I spend 24 hours a day for about the next 50 years, okay, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I will only be able to watch all the video that's uploaded to YouTube today, okay? So there's an enormous amount of content. There's so much content that you couldn't possibly even touch all of it. And one of the things that brands are running into is that how do you differentiate yourselves and rise to the top among this massive sea of content? Now, the answer to that is, and this is really interesting, the answer to that can be found in how do people find new shows to binge on? And one of the things that started to happen in the last couple of years is that a show will have a season 1 and season 2, and then between season 2 and season 3, that's when they become popular. Because what's happening now is that people are consuming content and they're only referring content to their friends and family after it's already good. And people are finding and discovering it after. It's just amazing. Like if you look at the viewership of Game of Thrones, which has been a blockbuster, its first season they did pretty well, second season it did really well, and then after that it just took off. Because then everyone was talking about it, everyone wanted to watch it, and if you weren't watching it and you couldn't talk about it, you felt left out. And that's how we got to start thinking about brand content. Now, one of the things that happened was in the early days is people started, and when I say people, I mean brand marketers. They were completely creating content for search engines, and they were writing for, in a way that it felt static. It wasn't real because they weren't writing for real people. They were writing to get search engine optimization for SEO. So they're basically writing for the bots. And I think that bad habit, it's a legacy habit that marketers just haven't thrown off because they don't know any better. And today, what the state of the market is telling us is that if you want to get SEO and you want to do really well with your content marketing, you must create valuable and unique content. I think there's just no other choice. You have to do it. Now, random acts of marketing are not going to get you there. I can't tell you how many brands I've audited in the last 5 years and, ask, well, who's running social media? And oh, well, we hired this young person and, they're straight out of college and, they use social media. And so we got them running our program. Like, okay, well, great. That's interesting. So what's their actual strategy? Well, and then we look and they're sharing the news of the day. They're sharing quotes, pithy quotes, because, there's not enough quotes in the world. They're sharing industry memes because, we don't have enough memes in the world. But there's no real insight being shared. And if there is insight, it's once in a blue moon and it's by a third party, okay? But there is no strategy that takes into account the human audience. The human, who are the best fit clients you're trying to attract. All marketing on the future is, if it's done really well, if you're telling really good stories, it's done so that the person consuming it thinks, oh man, how did they know my life? Like, how do they recognize my problems? Like, they wrote that just for me. Like, that's the best kind of marketing. And what I can tell you right now is that doesn't happen at random, okay? It's a strategy. And years ago, when I first got into content marketing in a big way, and I opened up the agency, and I was working with different brands, and I was looking at their blogging strategy and their social media strategies, and I realized, like, most of the content that I see out there is just junk, just terrible. And I was totally guilty as charged. I did all kinds of content that was professionally written, but written for, the search engine in mind. And when I finally made that, I had that epiphany, and I made that, we moved over to storytelling. And then we took it a little farther, is we started to look at, okay, what are the different structures in storytelling that we can take from fiction and then use them for a brand? And then when I took it into another level, is that I said, okay, well, science already tells us why people make certain decisions. We know that people are emotionally driven. They have primal urges and primal emotions that drive behavior. It's like, what if we combine storytelling with primal emotions and urges? And then let's take it one more step farther. And let's deeply, deeply dive into the audience. Who are they? What tribe do they belong to? What are their demographics? What are their psychographics? What are their fears? What keeps them up at night? And we take all three of those parts. So we got tribe, and it's defined with demographics and psychographics. And then we have a storyline, and we have a narrative structure, and we have some stories that really ring for that audience, and we bring value to them. And then we mix in the emotions and primal urges that really are for them alone. And you have a formula for creating content that goes viral. You have a formula that creating niche content that is going to perform in a way that random content is just not. And the first big campaign that I did that all three of these elements came together was actually in the hospitality industry for a hotel. And, we were working on it, and I looked at the different elements, and what we found was that every dollar we spent in Primal Storytelling was like $10 in advertising, because people were sharing it, and they were liking it, and they were commenting, and they were interacting in a way they just didn't with other content. The biggest failures, the biggest marketing failures that I've had in the last 6 or 7 years have all been boring content. Stuff that just sucks so bad. It just had so little value, and it's what I call the me type of content, where it's all about me, it's all about what we do, and we've been in business for 100 years, and we're the experts. Like, no one cares. Like, everyone's been in business for a long time. Everyone has got experts, okay? What they care about is a story. And when I look at those structures over and over and over again, story outperforms information. Story outperforms almost every other kind. And the stories don't have to be blogs. It can be video. It can be infographics that tell a story. And then it doesn't have to be a novel. It can just be a snippet. It can be a little series that we're going to put together, and each of those episodes put together, that's the whole story, and that's the value that you're bringing, okay? So lots of different ways to do it. So the big thing that I want you to take away from this video is it's time to make the transition from a brochure website into a website that has some thought, has some strategy. You've got a plan for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. You've got a plan for the entire year and how you're going to deliver the highest and best value to your best clients, okay? And, if you want a little help with that, Primal Storytelling, we have a Kickstart system where we can help you do that. We also have a kit that'll teach you to do it yourself with our academy. Or if you want to get really crazy, we're coming, very shortly with a Primal Storytelling certification so that you can go out into the world and you can apply the system on your own. Okay, and that's just for a few different people. So if you have an interest, please reach out, contact us, fill out the form below, and let's have a conversation. Okay, this is Tony Butler. I am the creator of the Primal Storytelling system. If you haven't already, please like this video, follow our channel, and you can find us also on Instagram, Anthony L. Butler, and Facebook, Anthony Butler. Okay, until next time, this is Tony Butler.